Good morning, students. I welcome once again to all of you, and I hope that all of you are safe and healthy. I will continue with the same chapter, that is current and electricity. Today, I will cover few topics from this chapter, that is free electrons, current flowing through a wire, electric current, Ohm's law, and resistance and resistivity of a conductor. Children, as all of you have done in 8th standard, that metals are called as a donor of electrons and they have free electrons in the outermost orbit. For example, take copper, sodium, magnesium. These are the metals and they donate electrons. The number of electrons present in the outermost shell or orbit are called as a free electrons. I will give you example. Last year you have done in science sodium chloride, where you have seen that sodium donated one electron to the chlorine and it forms a compound. So that one electron is a free electron. It is loosely bonded with the nucleus, means the attachment of this electron with the nucleus is very loose. So this is about free electrons. I mean to say, children, the number of electrons present in the outermost shell. Sodium has one electron in the outermost shell, magnesium 2 electrons, aluminium 3 electrons. So these are called as a free electrons, and these electrons are easily moved from one part of a conductor to the other part. I gave you example of sodium chloride, and this electron have a charge negative. Also, it transferred from one atom to the another atom to form a compound. This free electron always carries negative charge. So the number of electrons present in the outermost shell is called as a free electrons. Now children, second topic is about current flowing through a wire. You take a copper wire or any metallic wire, aluminium wire. Children, the number of electrons which are present in that wire are free to move in any directions. As you can see in the diagram 3.4, it shows that the number of electrons present in a wire and they are free to move in any directions. They jump right, left, up and down till that time when when the wire is not connected with the switchboard. If we supply or if we connect this wire with the potential difference, then what will happen? The direction of electron which are moving in the separate directions, means right, left, up and down, they will move from one directions. Since electrons are negative charge, they move from negative terminal to the positive terminal. In the second figure, you can see, children, there is a positive terminal and negative terminal. So positive charge positive ions moves from positive terminal to the negative terminal, and negative charge, that is electron, move from negative terminal to the positive terminal. So children, This is about free electrons. Once again, I'm telling you that any metallic conductor, any wire, if you will take, so inside that there you will get many number of electrons, and these electrons are free to move. They move in any directions. As you can see in your diagram, the number of electrons are moving up, down, right, left, anywhere, because it is not connected with the electric board with the potential difference. But as you will connect this copper wire with the electric board, what will happen? All the negative charge, that is electron, they will move in one directions. Electrons always carries negative charge. So all electrons move from negative terminal to the positive terminal, and the positive charge moves from positive terminal to the negative terminal. So I hope that all of you have understood about the free electrons and current flowing through a wire. Now I am coming to the next topic, that is electric current. Children, it's a very important part, because in exam maybe you will get definition of electric current, formula of electric current, or what is the unit of electric current. So see here, I have written that an electric current is nothing but the flow of electrons, the flow of negative charge. An electric current is the flow of electrons through a conductor. It may be copper wire. Conductor means it may be copper wire, aluminium wire. All these are the good conductors, children. They transfer the electron from negative terminal to the positive terminal. The current, the symbol of current, you can see on the screen, it is denoted by I, right? So I is the electric, I is the symbol of electric current. And how you will define this current? What is current then, children? The charge passing through a conductor in unit time. How much charge is passing through a conductor in a unit time? What is unit time? Unit time means in 1 second, in 1 minute, in 1 hour. How much charge is passing through a metallic wire, you can say, copper wire, in 1 minute, in 1 second, in 1 hour. That is called as a current. Okay, so electric current is what? Electric current is a flow of electron from negative terminal to the positive terminal. And what is current, children? Current is the charge passing through a metallic conductor. Metallic conductor, I give you example like copper wire, aluminium wire. In 1 minute, in 1 second, that is called as a current. So what is the formula here? Current symbol is I, and I is equal to charge, Q. Q is the symbol of charge, that is I is equal to Q upon T. The unit I will say about the electric current. The unit of electric current is Coulomb. In SI system, in SI form, the unit of charge is Coulomb, and the unit of current is a ampere. Understood, children? So once again, see here, what is the formula of current here? Current is equal to Q upon T. That means charge upon time. What is the unit of charge? How you will measure charge? Charge unit in SI system is Coulomb. It is denoted by C. And the unit of current in SI system is ampere. And one more thing, children, the charge of one electron, how much charge is present on one electron? That is very important part. The charge present on one electron is always equal to 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. Keep in mind, children, the charge present on one electron is always equal to 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. So I hope all of you have understood. I said three things in this, children. Children, first I said about electric current. Again, I am repeating the same statement. Electric current means it is the flow of electron from negative terminal to the positive terminal. Then what is current? Current is the charge passing through a conductor in unit time. And I said that conductor means wire. The wire which we are using in a house, it contains copper. So how much charge is passing through that wire in 1 minute, in 1 second, in 1 hour is called as a current. What is the formula then about current? Current is equal to Q upon T. Current is denoted by letter I. Charge is denoted by letter Q and time by T. So I is equal to Q upon T. Got it? Then afterwards I said the unit of charge. The unit of charge is coulomb and unit of current is ampere denoted by A. And I said that the charge of one electron, the charge present on one electron is 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. Children, this is all about electric current. Again, I will tell you a very important part, that what is 1 ampere? Ampere is the unit of current. So what is 1 ampere? How you will define 1 ampere? 1 ampere current is said to flow in a conductor if 1 coulomb charge flows through it every second. If 1 coulomb charge is passing through a conductor, say 1 coulomb charge is passing through a conductor in 1 second. 1 coulomb charge is passing through a conductor in 1 second, then what you will say, that the current flowing through conductor is 1 ampere. Very simple. What is 1 ampere? 1 ampere current means it is a flow of charge through a conductor in 1 second. When 1 coulomb charge is passing through a conductor in 1 second, then you will say that it is 1 ampere current. Now I have attached the video related to this electric current. Just see this video and try to understand about the electric current, children.
Let us discuss electric current. Before we go to the actual discussion, we would like to tell you what does current mean. Current means something is flowing. In an electrical circuit, if there is a voltage difference between 2 points, the electric charge flows. The rate of flow of electric charge with respect to time is called electric current. Let us assume a conductor. Let us consider one cross section of the conductor. We will also assume that a charge of dq crosses this section in time dt. Now the current through the conductor can be expressed as I equals to dq dt. If the charge passes through the cross section of the conductor is in coulombs, then the time taken by the charge to pass is in seconds. The unit of current would be expressed as coulomb per second. The unit coulomb per second is named as ampere. Ampere is the unit of electric current, and 1 ampere of current equals to 1 coulomb by 1 second. So I ampere of current means I coulomb of charge passes through a cross section of a conductor in 1 second. In pure metallic conductor, movable charge is negative, since this is contributed by free electrons in this conductor. As the movable charge is negative, it will move from negative side to positive side in a conductor. Previously, It was thought that current is rate of positive charge flowing. The positive charge essentially flows from positive side to negative side of a conductor. So it was assumed that electrical current flows from positive side to negative side of a conductor. This direction is still taken as the direction of current. Although in metallic conductor, movable negative charge flows from negative side to positive side, but the conventional direction of current is taken in opposite of the flow of negative charge in the conductor, such that the current is caused by flow of positive charge. This is conventional direction of current. Hope you got a basic idea. Thank you.
So children, I hope that all of you have understood about the electric current. Now I am coming to the next topic, that is Ohm's law. A very important law in this chapter, children. There was a scientist from German named George Simon Ohm who have shown the relation between the current flowing through a wire and the potential difference. The current flowing through a wire is denoted by I and the potential difference is denoted by V. According to him, how he defined this Ohm's law, what it states that if the physical state of a conductor, physical state means what? Its temperature, its cross-sectional area, its length. If the physical state of a conductor remains constant, means if it is not changed, then the current flowing through it, the current flowing through that wire is directly proportional to the potential difference between its two ends. This is the law given by George Simon. See once again, children, if you are not changing the physical state of a conductor, I said the meaning of physical conductor means if you are not changing the length, if you are not changing the cross-sectional area, if you are not changing the temperature of that wire, then the current flowing through the wire is directly proportional to the potential difference. In mathematically form, how it is written, that I is directly proportional to V and I is equal to kV, where K is a constant. For this derivation, I have attached one video which you will see afterwards now. Next thing, children, uh, the unit of resistance is ohm, right? To remember this scientist, because his name was George Simon Ohm, W-O-H-M, Ohm. So the unit of resistance is ohm. Now children, I have attached the video related to this Ohm's law. Just see this video and try to understand.
Let's look at this situation which we've seen in one of our earlier videos. Two beakers are connected by a pipe and one of the beakers is placed at a height above the other and the water will flow from this beaker to this one. Now listen to me carefully. If you understand this simple situation well, you will understand Ohm's law too. Just focus for the next 2 minutes and you will master Ohm's law. As we've discussed, it's the height difference that makes the water flow from the beaker on top to the one at the bottom. What happens if I increase the height difference? The flow of water will be faster, correct? Absolutely. So we can say that the flow of water is directly proportional to the height difference. Now let's look at another factor. How thin the pipe is. What will happen if I make the pipe thinner? The flow of water will be slower, right? That's correct. Thinner the pipe, slower the flow. So we can say that the flow is inversely proportional to thinness. Looking at these two relations, we can say that the flow is equal to H over T. The flow is directly proportional to the height difference and inversely proportional to the thinness. Why did I give you this example? Because it's analogous to the Ohm's law. The flow of water is analogous to the flow of current. The height difference is analogous to the voltage or potential difference, and the thinness is analogous to the resistance. The flow of current is directly proportional to the potential difference between the points and inversely proportional to the resistance. If the potential difference between 2 points is more, the current flowing through it will be more. And if the resistance is more, the current flowing through it will be lesser. This is assuming that the other factors are constant. This is the basic concept of Ohm's law, and there are many different ways in which we can understand it. We will dive a bit deeper into this concept in the coming videos.
So children, I hope that all of you have understood about the resistance and Ohm's law. I have shown two videos where you have seen the definition of Ohm's law, also how it is verified. Even when you will read your textbook, the same thing you will get. Even I have shown you how it is verified with the help of the graph. Okay, that graph part is not there in your exam, but it will help you in higher standard children, that 10th standard and 11th standard, because these chapters are repeated in 10th and 11th standard. That is why I have shown you about that graph part and that instrument, that is voltmeter, ammeter, cell, switchboard. That is very, very important part, and you are going to get in the higher standard. Now children, I'm coming to the next topic, that is resistance and the resistivity of a conductor. As already I have told you children, a wire have a large number of electrons and they are free to move from one terminal, that is one end, to another end in any motion. In random motion they move. Right children? During the motion of this electron, what happens? The atoms or the ions which are present in the conductor, they collide. But this collision happen when we connect the wire to the electric board, to the switchboard. So what will happen? All the electrons which are moving any directions, they move in one directions, from lower to the higher, right? From negative terminal to the positive terminal. So during this, when they move, when the electrons move from lower level to the higher level, from negative terminal to the positive terminal, the atoms or the ions which are present in that conductor, they stop, they interrupt, they collide. They don't want to electron to move further. So this hindrance which is present in the conductor, the interruption of the electron, is called as a resistance. Got it children? Once again, electrons are free to move in any directions when they are not connected to the electric board. But when the wire is connected with the electric board, all the electrons move from lower level to the higher level, and because of that, what happens? Current flows in opposite directions. So during this, when the electron move from one end to the other end in one direction, the other things which are present in the conductor, that is atoms, ions, they collide. They don't want to move electron to go away from this. Means they interrupt the electron to move further. There is a collision between the electron and the atoms. They stop the electrons, and that is called, that stopping part is called as a resistance. Got it children? So this is the resistance part. Next part you have resistivity. What is resistivity? At a given temperature, the resistance is denoted by R of a conductor, depends upon its length, area of a cross section, and the material it is made up of. Again, I'm repeating, what is resistivity? Resistivity means at a given temperature, the resistance, means R, of a conductor. I said the meaning of resistance, right children? That conduct depends on its length, cross-sectional area, and the material it is made up of. Mathematically, it is written as R. Resistance is directly proportional to length, so R is directly proportional to L, and R is inversely proportional to the cross-sectional area, 1 upon A. And then you will get R is proportional to L upon A. Therefore, R is equal to rho L upon. There is a sign rho which is read as a rho, and it is called as a constant of proportionality. The unit of resistance, already I told you, it is ohm, but the unit of resistivity is ohm meter. The unit of resistivity is ohm meter. Children, to understand this, I have attached one more video. Just see this video and try to understand.
Do you remember what resistance is in an electric circuit? It is something that controls the flow of current. If it's more, then the current reading will be lower, and if it's less, then the current reading will be higher. It's inversely proportional to the current. Let's talk a bit more about resistance. What are the factors on which a resistance of a conductor depends? When can we say that the resistance of a conductor is more or less than that of another? Let's do a small activity to understand this. Take a small electric circuit like this one, which has a plug key, a power source, and an ammeter. In the first case, connect a nichrome wire between these 2 points. Let the length of this nichrome wire be a lowercase l. Now plug the key and measure the reading in the ammeter. Now let's try playing with the factors a bit. In the second case, we double the length of the nichrome wire, but keep the thickness same. We just double the length. When you measure the reading, you will notice that the current is half of the current measured originally. When the length was doubled, the current halved. In the third case, we replace the wire with a thicker nichrome wire with length L. Understand this case well. We're just increasing the thickness of the wire without changing the original length L. Now, if you're increasing the thickness of the wire, it simply means we are increasing cross-sectional area. Let's call it A. Now, when you measure the current, you will notice that it's more than the original current I1. The results we're getting are pretty interesting. Let's try out one last case. We use a copper wire instead of a nichrome wire. The length and cross-section area A will be the same as the original wire, but the material has changed entirely. When you measure the current, you will notice that it's more than I1. Now let's understand the results case by case. We see that as the length of the wire increases, the current reduces by the same factor. It implies that the current is inversely proportional to the length of the wire. And by Ohm's law, we know that the current is inversely proportional to the resistance of the conductor. So these two together will imply that the resistance R is directly proportional to the length of the wire. More the length of the wire, more will be the resistance. Note that here we assume everything else will be constant. It will be the same wire and it will have the same cross-sectional area, and other factors like temperature will also be constant. So the length of the wire is one of the factors on which the resistance of a conductor depends. The resistance of a conductor is directly proportional to the length of that conductor. The third case tells us that as the thickness of the wire was increased, the current flowing through it also increased. It tells us that the current flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to the cross-sectional area of that conductor, which means that the resistance will be inversely proportional to the cross-sectional area of the conductor. Combining these two tells us that the resistance is directly proportional to the length of the conductor and inversely proportional to its cross-sectional area. If we introduce a constant rho, it can be written like this. This is the constant of proportionality and is called the electric resistivity of the material of the conductor. In the fourth case, we saw that as the nature of the material changes, the current flowing through the conductor also changes. And that's because as the nature of the material changes, its electric resistivity also changes accordingly. Conductors, for instance, have lesser resistivity as compared to alloys, and alloys have lesser resistivity as compared to insulators. Nichrome is an alloy, while copper is a metal which is a good conductor of electricity. And that's why the current reading increased when the material changed to copper. The SI unit of resistivity is ohm meter. How is it ohm meter? We can look at this formula and deduce it. The unit of resistance is ohm, The unit of length is meters and that of area is meter squared. Cancelling and transposing the units gives us the SSI unit of rho as ohm meter. We will understand resistivity in detail in the next video. But before we end this video, let's quickly review what we learned. The resistance of a conductor is directly proportional to its length and inversely proportional to its cross-sectional area. And it also depends on the nature of the material. If the material has low resistivity, its resistance will be lower, and if it has more resistivity, its resistance will be higher.
So children, today we have learned about the free electrons. As I said, that any conductor have large number of free electron in its outermost orbit, and they always move from one part to another. Then I said about the current flowing through a wire. When you will connect the wire with the electric board, what will happen? All the electrons will move from one direction, one level to the another level, means from negative terminal to the positive terminal. Then I have covered about electric current. I said that electric current means it is the flow of electrons from one terminal to another terminal. Then what is current, children? Current is the charge passing through a conductor in unit time. I is equal to Q upon T, where I is electric current, Q is a charge, and T is a time. And the unit of electric current is ampere. Unit of charge is coulomb. Then second last part I have covered about the Ohm's law and resistance, which is a very important part, right? What George Simon states, that if the physical state of a conductor remains constant, the current I flowing through a conductor is directly proportional to the potential difference between its two ends. And to remember George Simon, we put unit of resistance as ohm. Then I said the meaning of resistance. When you will connect all the wire with the electric board, what will happen? All the electron will move in one directions, and while moving in one direction, they collide. They are stopped by the other part, other things present in the conductor, that is atom or ions. So if lesser is the interruption, lesser is the resistance. So that is called as a resistance, children. And then finally I said about the resistivity, that at a given temperature, the resistance of a conductor depends upon its length, its area of cross section, and the material it is made up of. And I said finally that the unit of resistivity is ohm meter. So I hope, children, all of you have understood today's my topic. Don't go outside. Remain safe. God bless to all of you.